things that I've been learning in terms of ethics. One is that like I feel like it's a practice. Um, I do think that it is inadequate to think that if we just write about it, that one, we have it, and two, the ethics that we have are rooted in love or rooted in liberation, even. Um, and I guess that is also to say that I feel like ethics. I'm also learning the ways in which that there are ethics that can be rooted in different things, and they're not always necessarily things that are about ending suffering, which is a like or disrupting suffering even, and so I guess I'm also learning in terms of our sangha, like I think that there are um although it's like it's not written, like there are practiced ethics that are at the core of the practices and the ways in which we've converged as a community and emerged as a community, that are there, that are worth naming and clarifying and revising as we learn about ourselves and each other, and practice together more, both the formal practices, the sitting practices, the meditation practices, the practices of just being in community.
So what I'm really learning is about how, like, particularly because I'm focusing on disability justice principles, which is part of my personal practice and an area I'm exploring, um, is how you live your ethics and how our ethics are deeply personal while also being a collective thing and holding the complexity, the both and of that, and meeting each other with the awareness that we as practitioners are at very different areas in our paths, and then also as people are at very different levels in our awareness of the impact of systems like white supremacy and ableism and capitalism and cis heteropatriarchy, all of that. So if anything, I'm learning the importance of uh, having some playfulness and applying things in the moment, and how to name boundaries when you're also still building relationships, like you're first starting to build relationships and doing it in a way that's like part of building that relationship, and rather than just shutting down connection.
In our in the last year of organizing BIPOC space, there has been, I've witnessed and I feel from within myself such a desire to create the container, hold the container with such care and integrity. Um, and and participating in the project seemed like an important step to connect with others in the community, to support the work by helping me to find language to name and to, to name the work and frame it within an ethical standpoint.
I got involved in the Bhumi Sparsha Community Ethics Project because I love the work of developing in community ways of being with each other. And so I think of ethics and values of just kind of the conversations of how we can be with each other in a way that's life-giving, right? So how can we, have guides to move in space, move in the space and time that we're in, and also like what happens when things don't go as we expect them to, or there's harm or we have questions, and how can we be a questioning, curious and loving space with and for each other and all beings.
What I see in the Sangha is that people are willing, like there's a big curiosity around ethics and the conversation happening around it. And like I went to the Uprooting Whiteness group yesterday and mentioned the Community Ethics Project, and it was a small group of us, but people like wanted me to talk about it, and realizing like, oh, this conversation like can just like branch into all these different circles within Bhumi Sparsha, and it doesn't have to be this like formal like written and recorded quantitative thing, which I think why the framework is like a beautiful way to think about it, because the framework kind of like holds everything. It can like hold space for all these conversations to happen.
It's like really at the heart of what I wanted to begin to do as like somebody who holds space for people to be in good relationship with each other and create structures that embody those good relationships, and particularly in like teaching and healing contexts. And I think I used to say like let's like I had this like tagline like let's curate our ethics together, you know. And I think from the beginning, like I've always felt that like you know, ethics is not simply something that we like describe, but it's something that we live. And so an opportunity to like gather people to have like authentic inquiry in a community where, you know, myself and like you all have mentioned, like that has given so much to me. Like it's like it is also like a big act of both service and commitment.
I feel like this process has helped me to understand things about ethics that I haven't really explored because of the ethical frameworks I've run into, you know, from the Ten Commandments in Christianity to, you know, traditional kind of Buddhist ethics, the Eightfold Path and things, and a lot of things, vows and all kinds of stuff, bodhisattva vows, all kinds of things have, you know, the question has been, how do these become operational? You know, like how do I actually embody these in my life? And also and so because they felt just like words on a tablet from God or, you know, from an ancient book, they just don't feel relevant to me. But it's sort of like, okay, well, I can try to kind of fake it till I make it on that one, but I forgot about it for about 20 years. Um, so I feel like that the kind of sense that ethics are a living, changing, growing stream.
Seemed to me that the four activities, even though they are seldom named in the process of doing ethics, in the process of trying to identify and prevent harm at the communal level, or to speak to harm when it's happened, or to heal harm when it's happened. Although we don't often talk about pacification, magnetism, enrichment, or destruction in what at least in the West, has become formal ethical discourse, that they're very much a part of the reality of ethics as something we do rather than something that we talk about and theorize and philosophize about.
We can easily expect to have a broad range of perspectives on any one single event, and particularly if it's a sensitive event, some in which some sort of harm is perceived, that any process that attempts to investigate or remediate that has to take all of that into account, that there's going to be disagreement and perhaps very significant disagreement within the organization or within the membership or participation in the Sangha. And yet, of course, the goal is to remediate, is to figure out how to bring difference together and to heal, even though so maybe just backing up a second is to say that the goal has to be to figure out how to heal with difference intact, that people are going to have different perspectives, and yet we still want the organization to be whole and to heal from whatever's occurred.